everybody, Trishna here. Hope you guys are doing well. Today I want to talk to you about how to align with your truest self and why that's really important to being able to live a life that feels purposeful and that also allows you to feel fulfilled and happy. So I think a lot of our growth in life is all about connecting with that truer part of ourselves. I think that when we're younger and we're kids, we have parents who guide us, we have teachers who guide us, we have friends who have their own opinions, and they all kind of guide us to shape us to be who we are. They keep us safe from touching a hot stove or running in the middle of the street. They give us knowledge in schools by giving us history and teaching us math so that we can, move on to the next level and continue to learn more things that interest us in the future when we go to college and when we try to find a profession and when we become more of who we are. But in those very early stages of our life, we're listening to other people first before we listen to ourselves. And that's not a bad thing. That's a really important stage in life because when you first come here, there's a lot going on and it is good to like trust yourself, but there are things that you don't know. Like you don't know to not run in the middle of the street when there could be a car. You don't know to not touch a hot stove. You don't know to not stick a knife in an outlet. Like these are just things that you need to be told, and that's information that needs to come from the outside. And then as you become a teenager and as you go into your 20s, I feel like a lot of that is about dealing with peer pressure. Again, that's you listening to somebody else before you listen to yourself because you're not really sure who you are. You're not really confident in that. You don't feel like you are worthy yet. You feel like I have to do these things in order for people to like me because I'm not likable unless I do those things. I'm not worthy enough unless I do things for other people. And that, I think, is a difficult time. It's not the safest time for, I guess, our growth and development, like in terms of like it's not the safest time for who we are, but it is very crucial to our growth and development because during that time we are listening to other people and we are doing things, making mistakes that help guide us to figure out who we are, what we like, what we don't like, who we want to be, where we want to go. And especially in your 20s, I think that's when you really start figuring out who you are, but you're still not quite there. And so you really want to fit in with other people. I know for me, I wasn't really into sports, but when I was in the corporate culture, especially in consulting, that's what people always talked about. And so I really tried to follow along and be engaged in that. And I remember I had an older mentor who just said to me, "Why are you trying to like sports if you don't like sports? Just like what you like and focus on that." And I was thinking, well, it's really important for me. I have to like sports if I want to be able to progress in my career. And then as I switched jobs, moved into different companies, I realized that, yeah, like you really don't need to force yourself to like something that other people like. And that all that time I had been forcing myself to like something that just really wasn't for me. And I just never liked it because I just didn't grow up in an environment where watching sports was something that we did for fun. It wasn't something that yeah, I think a lot of what you learn to enjoy in life, like how you choose to celebrate or enjoy your time, is taught to you from when you're a kid. So if you're a kid and like you did a really good job on your paper, your parent might say like, "We'll go and watch a baseball game. We'll go to the game." And so you associate happiness with sports, and that just wasn't how I grew up. Like playing sports was fine, but we never really watched sports. We did other things for fun. So, yeah, like through your 20s, I think you really are in that phase when you're trying to figure out who you are, but you're still not there. And so you end up getting a little bit messed up for a little while, which is fine. Again, it's like a growth stage. You're learning a lot about who you are and you end up pursuing passions and pursuing directions and making friends with certain types of people that just really aren't aligned with your true self because you're trying to be somebody that you're not. You're trying to be somebody that likes sports when you're not, so you go hang out with people that like sports and then you talk to them and you're bored. Or you try to go to games and you're just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So all of that, I think really life is really just about getting closer and closer to identifying with who you really are. And who you are is always there. Your true self is always there with you. It's like a puzzle piece. It's like a big puzzle game where you have all the pieces, but they're scattered around, and everything you need is right there in front of you. You just don't really realize it yet because you haven't put the pieces together. And through life, you start putting in more of the pieces together. So you're not necessarily going out there and learning more about yourself. Yourself has always been there. You're just piecing together who you are based off of what you see in the world. So it's not coming externally. Who you are isn't coming from an external source. It's really coming from an internal source, and you're just clicking with things in the external that help you click what's really on the internal aspect of yourself. So, like I was saying, this whole development that happens when you're a kid, living with your parents, going to school, and then when you're in your teens and there's peer pressure, when you're in 20s, you're kind of figuring out who you are, but you're not quite there yet, you're not fully confident. And then I don't really know what happens after 30 because I'm not quite there yet. But just that phase alone, there's a lot that's going on that is helping you figure out who you are. And I was saying that it's all good, it's all positive. Like, you need to have these experiences and make these mistakes in order to really find that person in yourself. But of course, there can be a darker side to things where maybe your influences, your friends, are kids who really got into drugs, or kids who like to steal, or kids who, I don't know, like to bully, or whatever the situation is. And because you don't yet know who you are and you are trying to be accepted by others, you lose sight of your true self and what you really want, and you tend to just follow along and go with the majority or whatever your friends want to do, or whoever has the most influence or push, or I don't know, push, I guess. So there is like a negative aspect of that. And then in your 20s, like I was saying, you can really just get interested in things that really don't interest you, and then you end up chasing down what you think are your passions, but they're really not your passions. You're not interested in them, and you end up, really just not enjoying conversations with people and learning as much as you can from them, because they're just really not in alignment with who you truly are, because again, you just don't know who that is. And life is all about journey, it's all about the growth, and it's all about the learning, but it's also all about the happiness. You came here to learn and grow, but also to continuously achieve a new level of happiness. As you achieve one level of happiness, you maybe accomplish something, then there's a new level that you want to achieve. There's something else you want to accomplish, and then you strive for that. So it's all about striving for the happiness. And if you really aren't in line with who you are, it can be much harder to achieve that. That's when you start going down paths that don't really make sense for you. So I think the whole development thing is fine, that whole stage, and that's great. There's a lot that you learn from there. There's a lot that you learn about yourself. But what if you can make it a lot easier on yourself? What if you can learn and grow, but also be in line with who you are? And so you're maximizing how much you're growing, how much you're learning, and you are really fulfilling yourself throughout your life, and just continuously snowballing and spiraling that happiness and that fulfilled and that meaningful life for yourself. So I always want to start off by saying that I think meditation is just so key, because when you just sit and have a moment where that moment is all yours, there's nothing you need to do, there's nowhere you need to be, there's nothing you need to think about, and anything that you're stressed about in that moment you can just let go of, because that is your moment and you will deal with it once that moment's over. But right now, that is your moment. And I just think that is so key, because it puts you in this very relaxed and open state. And when you're relaxed, you can see everything in your life for the rest of that day, for a few days actually, because I think meditation effects actually last a little bit longer, but you can see everything from a very calm perspective, and you can really see things for what they are versus what you emotionally think they are, whatever your gut reaction might be, which could be right or wrong depending on where you're at emotionally and where your outlook is at. But when you really meditate, it like brings your outlook to a very relaxed, neutral state where you can really see things for what they are. You can really see what you enjoy. Things that are really important to you become clearer. They rise to the surface because you're just so relaxed about it. And then also you have a more open-minded perspective, because you're not just, when you're meditating, you're not judging your thoughts. You're just saying, I'm letting them go right now. This is my time. I will deal with my stresses, I'll deal with my problems later, but this is my 30 minutes where I can just sit here and just be. All I have to do is exist, and there's nowhere I need to go, nothing I need to do. And just nowhere else that I need to be. And so that really keeps you in an open-minded perspective, because you're not judging yourself. And when you start training yourself to be in that open-minded perspective, you stop judging what you see in the world, and you are more likely to be open to a certain direction. Like maybe there's a certain direction that really calls your heart, but because you've never really been true to yourself, because you haven't really figured out who you are yet. And so you've been listening to other people, like maybe everybody in your environment, like I was saying, like sports, but that's really not your thing. Maybe you like art. But you just But because your circle of friends really isn't into art, you think that that's just not worth your attention. But when you keep yourself in an open-minded place, you can like both worlds, and you'll be more open to art, and you'll be more trusting of yourself because you're in that very relaxed, non-judgmental state, and you're more trusting of what comes up. And when you can really trust both yourself and what you are seeing in the world and understand that something is clicking for you, you can be open to it coming into your life versus cutting it out and then not ever really being able to connect with your true self because you just keep cutting it off. The other thing that comes from meditating, the other benefit of it, is that you start getting more ideas throughout the day of things that interest you or things you want to do, and you also start becoming a lot more aware of things that you want to work on within yourself to grow yourself and be the kind of person that you want to be. And when those ideas come from the internal aspect of yourself because you've been meditating, those are keys on how you can grow yourself to be your truest self because they're coming from internally, they're coming from who you really are. And so that connection that you get from meditation really only helps you. It gives you direction in terms of things you're interested in. It also gives you direction in terms of things that you want to develop within yourself. And from there, I would recommend keeping a list of ideas and a list of things that you want to work on. And that can be in a journal if you like. I actually use an Excel spreadsheet. I have like 400 different ideas, and I have like, I don't even know how many things I have on things that I want to work on. Probably like 30, but the list keeps growing for both. And it's just really nice to have that to refer back to. And not all of those ideas are going to be ones that you really need to act on right now, but it's really nice to have that list and just see the results that you're getting, see like all the ideas and the inspiration that you're having. And I think it'll be a lot more than you realize. And every one of those things is something that resonates with you on some level. And when the time is right, you'll be called to act on them because you will again be in tune with yourself. So you will know your internal timing and your timing with everything around you. And as you guys may know, if you've been watching some of my other videos, I'm really big on the internal healing and activation where we align like all aspects of yourself with your truest self. So that means the mental aspect of you, the emotional aspect of you, and the spiritual aspect of you, like your soul self, so that you're all in line and you can really be open to what comes your way in terms of who you truly are. You'll really feel it within you. You'll be able to trust yourself, trust your gut, know when something really feels right, know when an idea is like an inspired internal idea, know when there's something that is internally that you want to develop versus a criticism coming from the outside of somebody saying you need to develop something. You can tell if that's something that you want to work on too, if that resonates with who you are, and just having this really nice, calm, peace, trust, and feeling of self-worth within yourself for who you really are and allowing yourself to really be that and develop into that the aspect of yourself where the puzzle pieces are starting to get put together and you're really starting to grow into who you came here to be and the way that you want to express yourself in this lifetime and on this planet. So yeah, as you guys know, I really like that aspect. So I think meditation and journaling and just doing that is perfectly fine. I think that that is just so insightful and healing. And I think it's just so fun to have all these ideas and know all these things that you want to work on and really just be excited about them and understand that like you're just going to grow to all these new levels because every one of those things on your list is something that is truly for you personally, truly for your personal, very specific, unique soul being growth. It's not something that someone else thinks you should do. Sometimes you get the ideas from other people, but if it feels right, it'll be something that you want to work on as well. Like it'll feel right. But if you guys are interested in the healing and activation, that will be in the second part of this video. And I really like that because it's like, I don't want to say a shortcut because it's not really cutting corners, but you can get all of those wonderful results just by listening to these words of activation that I will receive from your souls and your higher selves that are targeted to help activate you on all of those levels across all of your beings so that you can really start tuning into who you are and living that like happy and purposeful life. So if you guys are interested in that, that will be part 2 of this video. So look out for that. And either way, I will catch you guys in my next video.